Hey there. Hey, if you are somebody who sells through sales calls, which is probably most people, and those calls are not always as productive as you would like them to be, meaning they don't always end in a yes or a concrete next step in their buying process or buying journey. You may end up having to constantly follow up with people. People tell you, I'll get back to you. And there's no real set time or definite answer when they'll get back to you. That's so incredibly frustrating. So I'm going to share with you how you can have much more productive sales conversations and either get to a yes faster and easier or get to that next step in their buying process, depending on who you're selling to. These make the calls much more effective. They typically shorten the length of the call because it is much more focused on producing an outcome for both people. And you're actually having sales conversations with people who are ready to buy. So let me explain how that works. My name is Winnie Anderson. I'm a brand and content strategist, and I work exclusively with service businesses. And I solve problems in their sales process. I help you identify where the breakdowns are and what the buyer needs in order to take that next step and often to just say yes to you. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the root of the problem of why your calls are not productive. And I'm going to explain very simply how you can improve things and make sure that these calls are much more productive, setting you and them up for success without being salesy, without being pushy, and without following some ridiculous script or memorizing some bizarre formula and using verbal trickery to get someone to say yes to you. All right, so I have two monitors. So I have notes on my other monitor, so I'll be looking back and forth as I do this. And of course, you know how this works. So if you have any questions or comments, you're certainly welcome to share them. And just let me know you're here. I am using the fabulous StreamYard app. So if you're watching this live, you're going to see a request from StreamYard saying, click this link to give us permission to basically see your profile. That's all you're giving them permission to. It's nothing creepy. They're not going to see your friends list. All they're going to do is they're going to see your name and your picture, and they're going to show that. That's going to give them permission to show that to me in my StreamYard dashboard. So that just means that when you make a comment, I'm able to say, hey, Georgia, rather than, hey, Facebook member. So it just makes things a little bit easier and a little more personal. All right. And if you are an All Access Pass member, then you can watch this whenever the heck you want. So people who are All Access Pass members, they have raised their hand and they said, I want access to your whole vault of social content. And they get a link to a site where they sign up. And once a week, I say, hey, here's what you got in the vault. Be sure to check it out. So if that's you, just say All Access, and I'll be happy to get back to you with that pass, that link. All right, so let's dive in. So sales calls, I'll be honest with you, I don't know anybody who likes to do them. Of course, you like helping people. You want to make the impact and the income, of course, that you want in your business. But I have worked with entrepreneurs who have sold tens of millions of dollars in their business. They hate sales calls. I had a person who I worked with who he just wouldn't talk to people. He had somebody else do it and he would just send them the quote and nothing else. So, and made, I think he grossed years ago, he was grossing like $4 or $5 million a year. That's pretty good for not talking to people. But there were still things that he could do that could improve the yes rate and shorten the time it took to go from that quote to yes and to getting into the work. So I'm sure that interests you. Let me explain, like I said, the root of this problem. So if you get on calls let's talk about how you can recognize it first. If you get on calls and this has happened to me, of course, you get on a call and you realize the person, like, they're really not ready to buy. They have a lot of questions about what you do, how you do it. They may not be able to answer your questions fully. There's a lot that they don't know about whatever it is that you're trying to get to the heart of. And when you're trying to get them to say yes, you can feel some resistance. And you're thinking to yourself, how did I even get on a call with this person? Why am I having this conversation? You're trying to get them to close. They're trying to back away. They're not ready for that next step. So here's the problem. The heart of the problem is you came into this thinking you were going to have a sales conversation. They came into this conversation thinking that they were going to have at most a marketing conversation. And you're actually having two separate conversations. No wonder you're frustrated. You might feel like you're being pushy and salesy. And I got news for you, it's because you are. And that's how you're coming across to them, because they're not ready for what you're trying to get them to do. Because they came into this conversation with a different set of expectations. This is why it's so important, and I did not turn off my phone, so I'm going to do that now. That's why it's so important to make sure that when you get a call booked, that you are completely clear with that person on what is going to happen in that call and what's the objective. This gives them a chance to say, whoa, I'm not ready for that. Or, yep, I'm all set. Let's go. Let's talk about it. Okay. So that's job one. You've got to make sure that you're both on the same page. Job two is to get your marketing to do its job. My favorite business quote of all time, I think, is from the late great legendary Peter Drucker. And that is that marketing's job is to make selling superfluous. So if marketing did its job well, it would bring you people who raise their hand and say, yes, I'm ready to talk to you. And they would say, yeah, what are the details? Because I'm feeling like I'm ready to buy, because they're pre-sold to work with you. That's the essence of what marketing is supposed to do. Marketing's job is really to do the selling. Your job is just to work out the details, whether you have to give them a quote or, whatever it is that's part of your sales process, your profit process. That's what marketing's job is supposed to be. So if your marketing is not working right, you need to figure out where in the process is the breakdown, and why am I getting people who are unsure about, what they want or what I even do. So to do that, you need to reflect on these calls that you get. I'm just going to make a note to myself. I just thought of a worksheet to create, so I'm going to make a note to myself. Okay, so you want to really think through, how do you take somebody from stranger to client, whether it's patient, customer, whatever is your lingo, right? I say client. So how do you get them from stranger to client? It's not a matter of getting, even though that's the language that we use. It's really a matter of giving. It's how do you give them the information that they need in order to make the best decision for them? Because if you really do approach this in a getting way, the whole energy is wrong. You're chasing, they're running away, and you don't understand what's going on here. And they're like, you're creepy. So you want to make sure that you're setting this up right from the beginning. So think about, how does the process work? And then where do they either back out, ghost you, drop off? And if you don't have data that really can you hear the thunder? It's starting to rain. Um, if you don't have data that tells you along the path where they fall out, that's something for you to really think about. And you want to make sure that you're operating from as much data as you can. So let's say that you've got some people who get all the way to a call with you. Others you probably may not know that they're dropping out of the process. So when you're having the call with them, you really want to think about how prepared are they, or do they come across to make a decision? And what is it that they're asking you questions about? What is it that they are putting up their back about? What are they starting to, where does that call break down? That's really what you need to think about. Because a marketing conversation is all about them learning about you and you educating them and elevating yourself and really spending that time. A sales call, as I said, is about the details of working out. Yes, they want to know more. They want a quote from you and they want to understand all of that. So you're going to identify where they are, what your vibe you're getting from them, and you're going to think about what information do they need. They're telegraphing you to a large degree. What information do they need in order to be able to say yes to you and yes to themselves, right? A lot of times, depending on what you offer, it might be, even if you're a physician and you offer healthcare treatment, right? The person has to believe that they're deserving of whatever it is that you offer. They have to believe that they can do it. They have to believe that they deserve it, that this is going to be either an easy process, or if it's going to be challenging, that you're going to support them. Oh, thanks for the love. Say hi if you're here. If this is going to be really challenging for them, and change is, I'm sure many of you help people navigate through some kind of change, right? That's the nature of being a service provider. I don't care if you run a dry cleaner. The change is that people have dirty clothes and they get clean ones and they feel confident and they look great and they're able to go forth with confidence in what how they're presenting themselves. And if you are any type of consultant, you're producing some kind of change in their life, their business, whatever. Same thing with a coach, etc. So you want to be clear about how difficult the change really is for them, because change is hard and often we resist that. So you're going to be able to provide content that is going to answer the questions, is going to take them through a process where they self-qualify, meaning they're completing exercises, they're taking quizzes, they're completing an assessment, they're thinking, they're reflecting on questions that you're asking them, but they're consuming this content and they're thinking, I need that help, I want it in this way. And they're going to recognize that you're a right fit for them, your point of view fits with them, and they're going to come to you ready to have that call and make that commitment. Now, if they get there, first of all, like I said, you want to make sure they're ready. You want to make sure they've consumed the content that you've created that will bring them to the call ready. So this requires a level of leadership, confidence on your part to say, okay, here's what you need to do. And from their perspective, right? This is going to help us use our time more effectively. This is going to answer a lot of the questions that you probably have. You're making this about them, not about you. And then when they come to the call, their expectations have been managed and they are ready for this conversation. And then you can get down to brass tacks. If you don't know this information, you don't have a list of questions that they ask, you don't know where they tend to back off, you're going to have to collect that so you can think about it. But then also you want to speed this data gathering up and have more conversations. So this is what I refer to having a screen in approach rather than a screen out approach. When you have, you have consistent sales and you're earning what you want to earn and everything's going well, you can then, I don't want to say put up barriers, put up or hurdles, but you can be a little bit more clear about, I only have conversations with people who are at this point or who have this criteria. You haven't consumed this content. You're not ready to have a call yet. I need you to go here. So this allows you to take a more confident screening out process. But while you're learning and gathering data, you need to screen in. So let's do just a quick recap here. And I'll summarize these tips for you. So you have people who you're having sales calls with, they're not ready. You need to help them get ready. You need to commit, first of all, to this process. This is what I refer to as pre-selling. This is the essence of pre-selling. You're going to give them content and information that educates them, elevates you, inspires them to want that future that you're offering them and to see that the change you're asking them to make is worth it. And then you're going to invite them to take the next step. That's the essence of pre-selling. So you're going to commit to that process. You're going to, and I'm looking at my notes, you're going to decide, do I need to screen in or screen out? Always on the focus, with the focus of managing people's expectations so they know what kind of call they're coming to, whether it's a marketing or a sales call. You're going to decide what makes a sales ready prospect. They've consumed a certain amount of content. They come to you with, they've sent you questions. They've somehow indicated that they're ready. Whether you've got automation that helps them through this process where they have to fill out a questionnaire and they send their answers to you, but you want to figure that strategy out. And then you want to adhere to that you're having conversations because you want to have conversations. And then you want to create what I call client acquisition tools. These are the core pieces of content. There's billboard content, there's signpost content that guides people, attracts them to you, guides them through the process, helps get them ready to buy, helps get them ready to have that conversation with you. They're going to recognize the severity of their problem. They're going to understand their options for solving it. And they're going to qualify themselves with respect to how you solve problems and that they're ready for that, right? You're then, of course, going to continue to create content that attracts new people, but then you're going to guide them along this buyer's journey, and which is your profit map, and you're going to help them come to the call ready to actually make a decision. And because if they're not, you don't want to feel pushy. You don't want them to feel pushy, that you are pushy or salesy. You want to help them recognize you need to understand this particular piece. So nobody wants to be sold to, but people do want and need to buy. Yes, even in this recessionary environment, you want to use your time effectively. It's your greatest, non-renewable resource. So you've got to make sure that they're consuming the key pieces of content that you need them to consume to use both of your times effectively, and so they don't feel like they're being sold to. And you're going to recognize that marketing's job is to do that selling for you. Your job on that sales call is to really help them make the final decision and make the commitment to the purchase. And that might be, depending on their buying process, it might be that you're going to come in on Zoom or live, and you're going to do a presentation. It might mean that their job in the buying process, and this is the other important piece, you have to understand the role they play, and you can give them that information so they can do that job and be your advocate, really, as part of the buying process, because they've totally bought into how you do this. So I hope that helps. So if you are ready to have more productive sales conversations, the first thing you need to do is to recognize that marketing's job is to make selling superfluous. And you need to have this content that guides people along their buying journey. So if this has been helpful, show me some love, share this with other people that you think would benefit. Feel free to ask questions, make comments. I will circle back, and on Wednesday, I will answer any questions that you post. We'll answer whatever questions that I receive about this or any other marketing topic on Wednesday. And I'm happy to help you figure this whole process out. This is the nature of what I do with clients. I analyze their buying journey, that their clients are traveling, and identify what's missing and then create that. So the sales conversations happen much more effectively, and they're actually sales conversations, not marketing conversations. All right, have a great, fabulous week. Get your message out there. Remember, your message matters. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. This has been Winnie Anderson, brand and content strategist, helping service businesses to shorten their sales cycle by helping their buyers navigate the buying journey faster and easier. All right, see you soon. Bye for now.